Unbroken is a 2014 American war drama film produced and directed by Angelina Jolie and written by the Coen brothers, Richard LaGravenese, and William Nicholson. It is based on the nonfiction book by Laura Hillenbrand, Unbroken, a World War II story of survival, resilience, and redemption, 2010. The film stars Jack O'Connell as Army Officer Louis Zamperini, an American Olympian, and Miyavi as Imperial Japanese Army, IJA, Corporal Matsuhiro Watanabe. Zamperini survived in a raft for 47 days after his bomber ditched in the ocean during the Second World War, before being captured by the Japanese and being sent to a series of prisoner-of-war camps. Filming took place in Australia from October 2013 to February 2014. Unbroken had its world premiere in Sydney on November 17, 2014, followed by a London premiere at the Odeon Leicester Square on November 26, 2014. The film was released in the United States on December 25, 2014. It received mixed reviews from critics, though praise was given to O'Connell's performance and Deakins' cinematography. It was a financial success, grossing $163 million worldwide. The film was followed by a sequel, Unbroken, Path to Redemption, in 2018.
Plot.
During an April 1943 bombing mission against the Japanese-held island of Nauru, Louis Zamperini is flying as a bombardier of a United States Army Air Force's B-24 Liberator when his plane is damaged in combat and a member of the crew injured. The pilot Phil brings the aircraft to a stop at the end of the runway despite an exploded tire. In a flashback to his early youth in Torrance, California, Louis misbehaves by stealing, drinking alcohol, and smoking. He is often bullied by others for his Italian ethnicity. His brother Peter, seeing how fast Louis runs, trains him to be a runner. Louis becomes a disciplined distance runner, earning the nickname the Torrance Tornado. He finishes 8th in the 1936 Summer Olympics and sets a record in the final lap for the 5,000-meter race. In his 1943 combat service, Louis takes some of the surviving crew and several replacements on a search and rescue mission with an old plane. One engine fails, and the aircraft ultimately crashes into the ocean. Louis and two others, Phil and Mac, survive and float on two inflatable rafts. On their 27th day adrift, the trio attract the attention of a Japanese fighter plane, which strafes and damages the rafts but misses them. Mac dies 6 days later. On the 47th day, Japanese sailors find and capture Louis and Phil. Now prisoners of war, Louis and Phil are held on Kwajalein Atoll. The American airmen are interrogated for information on newer bombers and the Norden bomb site. Louis says they flew older models and draws a rendering of a Philco radio. They are dragged out to disrobe and kneel on planks, expecting to be executed. Instead, they are crudely washed and shipped to Japan. Upon arrival, they are sent to different POW camps. At Camp Amori, in Tokyo, Louis and his fellow POWs are the responsibility of Japanese Corporal Matsuhiro Watanabe. He is especially hard on Louis, beating him often. Louis is given an opportunity to broadcast a message home saying he is alive after learning the U.S. government classified him as Kia. As he refuses to broadcast another message full of anti-American propaganda, he is sent back to camp, where Watanabe has each prisoner punch him. After 2 years, Watanabe is promoted to sergeant and leaves the camp. As the camp is damaged when Tokyo was bombed, Louis and the others are moved to Naoetsu prison camp. Here, Watanabe is again in command, but as a sergeant, he supervises the prisoners at work loading coal barges. When Louis pauses during work, he is punished by Watanabe, who makes him lift a large wooden beam and hold it over his head. The sergeant orders a guard to shoot Louis if he drops it, but the American defiantly holds it up despite his exhaustion. This enrages Watanabe as Louis stares him straight in the eye, provoking a severe beating. At the end of the war, Louis and the other POWs are liberated when the Americans occupied Japan. He looks for Watanabe in his quarters, but discovers he has already fled. Sitting down, Louis stares at a photo of Watanabe as a child alongside his father. He is returned home to America, where he kisses the ground upon arriving home. At the end of the film, there is a slideshow of the real Louis and the events in his life following the war. He married and had 2 children. Phil also survived and married. Matsuhiro the Bird Watanabe went into hiding and evaded prosecution despite being on the top 40 most wanted Japanese war criminals list compiled by General Douglas MacArthur's staff. Louis lived out his promise to convert to Christianity, to devote his life to God, and to forgive his wartime captors. In the post-war years, he met with many of them, but Watanabe refused. Louis was honored by running a leg of the Olympic torch relay for the 1998 Winter Olympics in Nagano, Japan. He was 4 days short of his 81st birthday and ran on a stretch not far from one of the POW camps where he was held. The closing titles reveal that Louis Zamperini died on July 2, 2014, at 97.
Cast:
Jack O'Connell as Captain Louis Zamperini, a former Olympian and bombardier who is held in captivity by the Japanese. C.J. Valeroy as young Louis Zamperini. Domhnall Gleeson as Lieutenant Russell Phil Phillips, Louis' companion at sea and his capture. Garrett Hedlund as Lieutenant Commander John Fitzgerald, captain of submarine USS Grenadier. Miyavi as Sergeant Matsuhiro the Bird Watanabe, a sadistic prison camp commander who tortures and treats Louis cruelly. Finn Wittrock as T-3S/Sergeant Francis McNamara. Jai Courtney as Lieutenant Charlton Hugh Cupernell. Luke Treadaway as Miller. Spencer Lofranco as Harry Brooks. Travis Jeffrey as Jimmy. Jordan Patrick Smith as Cliff. John Magaro as Frank Tinker. Alex Russell as Pete Zamperini, Louis' brother. John DeLeo as young Pete. Vincenzo Amato as Anthony Zamperini, Louis' father. Louis McIntosh as William Frederick Harris. Ross Anderson as Blackie. Maddalena Ischiali as Louise Zamperini, Louis' mother. Savannah Lomble as Sylvia Zamperini, Louis' younger sister. Sophie Dalla as Virginia Zamperini, Louis' second younger sister. Production. Development. Universal Pictures purchased the rights to the book in January 2011, having already acquired the film rights to Zamperini's life story towards the end of the 1950s. 5 early drafts for the film were written by William Nicholson and Richard LaGravenese, while Francis Lawrence was scheduled to direct. Joel and Ethan Coen were then tapped to rewrite the script after Jolie was named director. 6. On September 30, 2013, Jolie was confirmed to direct the film in Australia. 7. Jolie was paid a $1 million salary for directing the film. 8. Walden Media was originally set as Universal's co-financier. 9. But withdrew from the project prior to filming and were subsequently replaced by Legendary Pictures. 2. The filming was based in New South Wales and Queensland, with scenes also shot in Fox Studios Australia and Village Roadshow Studios. Filming. Principal photography began on October 16, 2013, in Queensland, Australia, and ended on February 4, 2014. 10. With post-production also being done in Australia. 11. Some of the scenes were shot at sea in Moreton Bay on October 16, 2013. 12. On December 14, 4 days of filming were completed in Werris Creek, New South Wales. 13. The POW coal scenes were all filmed at Cockatoo Island, New South Wales. The scene where they were captured by the Japanese destroyer was filmed in Sydney Harbour.